So we are joined now by UFC middleweight contender and former Alabama and professional football player, Eryk, your boy Anders. He has got a 13-5-1 record as a professional mixed martial artist. And he's got a big fight coming up next weekend against Darren Stewart at UFC 263. That's Saturday, June 12th. So, Eryk, thanks for taking the time to talk to us as close to a big fight. It's a stacked card, and your guys is one of the more interesting matchups, at least in my opinion. Both you guys are super athletic, and also what we have is a rematch of the most recent fight for both Eryk and Darren. That fight was declared a no contest, fight that you were clearly on your way to winning. So let's go ahead and get the question out of the way. The reason for that no contest was due to an illegal knee that you delivered while Darren was on the ground. So obviously this type of thing happens, but I'm just curious from your point of view, kind of how that played out.
Man, this is the thing. If I throw that knee, if that same situation happens in the first minute of the fight, the doctor doesn't even come in. He takes his 5 minutes, and the fight continues. But because he fell to the ground, acted like he was hurt, and the barrage of punches that he took, the 4.5 minutes before that. Of course, he's not going to be able to answer coherently. Of course, he's not going to be able to walk in a straight line. Of course, he's not going to be able to answer the doctor's questions and, whatever protocol that they have for, these kind of things. So I kind of gave him a way out. He took it, and, it's all on me. I should have just kept throwing punches, and, I would have, my other half of my paycheck and another W in the win column.
Yeah, I was watching that fight recently, and I think that fight should have been stopped before that knee was even thrown anyways. Early on, after you hit him with that knee and dropped him for I think the second time, it could have easily been stopped there. He wasn't really defending himself and just kind of sitting there taking punches from you, and that knee was just kind of after the thought. I don't know. What do you think about?
I don't know. I think if I was in his position, I'd want the fight to go on. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but it is what it is, man. I had a lapse in judgment, and he reaped the benefits of it. So I got a second chance to go out there and do it right the second time. So it is what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing is, the last fight wasn't with fans. You being, playing in Alabama football, used to the big crowd, not now having the fans back for the pay-per-view. You think that's something going to help you out?
Man, it's something I'm almost just as excited as the actual fight. To be able to fight in front of fans. I love fighting in front of fans. There's just something that it does to the fighters. I went to 262 in Houston, and man, every time one solid shot landed, everybody was like, ooh, making a bunch of noise. And the fight, it made the fighters fight harder, made them fight more. So yeah, I think that it's a little added element to the fight, But man, the people kind of pissed me off because a fight broke out in the stands and everybody stood up to watch that fight, and I'm like, hey man, sit down. That fight over there sucks. This fight over here in the cage is a really good fight. You should be watching that one. Let these drunk idiots hurt themselves. But I don't know, man. I caught myself kind of looking too, But
I mean, how could you not? Like, was it close to the octagon, or was it up further into the stands?
It was like not like the upper whatever, but it wasn't it wasn't close. But anytime there's a lot of people moving, frantically and fast, it's going to catch everybody's attention. So I caught myself peeking a few times myself.
One thing I did want to ask you about, though, as far as the sort of excitement stuff that you're talking about, right, and the energy that the fans bring. I was listening to an interview by George St. Pierre recently, and what he was talking about was basically there's two kinds of fighters. There are those that are nervous and kind of scared before the fight because you're going out there, you're putting your health and you're putting your body on the line, right? And then there's the other type of fighter who is just kind of crazy, right? And they're not afraid, they're just absolutely crazy. So Eryk, which one of those two things are you?
Man, I don't know. I don't get nervous or anything like that, I don't think. But for me, with or without fans, the fight doesn't start until I get hit, you know. It's just all kind of, we're out there, we're moving, and okay, all right, the fight has started, kind of thing. So I'm one of those guys, like one of the Forrest Griffin type guys. So I don't know what category that puts me in, or maybe I'm in a separate category along with guys like him. And but I don't know. I really don't feel anything before a fight. Maybe I should.
Josh mentioned that you played football at Alabama, and I mentioned as well you had some time in the pros as well, NFL, CFL, and a number of football players have made that transition. It's probably a question that you get fairly often, right? Like you've got a guy like Greg Hardy and people like that who have made that transition from football to MMA. And I was just wanted to ask you sort of, for you personally and in general, what drew you to make that particular transition to MMA?
Man, honestly, I didn't have anything else to do. I was working, found myself being bored, frustrated, fighting all the time, getting in trouble. And man, just needed somewhere to put my energy, I would, wake up, go to work, come home, go out, get faded, get in fights. And it's just a very unhealthy and chaotic time in my life. So I was just looking to blow off some steam and stuff, and I quickly fell in love with the sport.
So was there a particular moment during that time where you just was there like sort of a come to Jesus moment where you were like, man, I need to make some changes here. I need something to as an outlet for all this energy and this stuff that I've got going on?
I don't know if it's like one particular moment, but definitely I guess when I first walked into an MMA gym, I sparred while Harris got beat up and fell in love right then and there. So I knew that, I would do what I had to do so I could do what I wanted to do and live this life, live this dream, and make it and fight in the UFC.
Nice. And when you do go out, I'm sitting here drinking a Budweiser. So what is your drink of choice?
Man, I'm a whiskey drinker. I'll sip on some whiskey all night long,
Bourbon, Irish whiskey, Tennessee whiskey.
I like Bullet.
Okay.
But, I've grown kind of fond of Crown because it's not that expensive, and that's what I would drink when I was poor. So I don't ever want to forget where I came from.
I understand. Hey, but I got one for you. Try some Angel's Envy. You'll love it.
Angel's Envy. All right, I'll do it.
Absolutely. That's my go-to. That's when you really feeling good and you want to spend a little bit of money on a bottle. It's probably like $45-$50 for it.
Oh, well, man, maybe after this fight, I'll cop me a bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. That's some good
Gotta get
stuff.
you one of them bonuses.
Hopefully, too.
Yeah, and speaking of that, you're going to get the 50 G's for the knockout of the night. That's what I'm predicting. I picked you last time. My partner in crime over here didn't. So
well, we don't need to get into that.
Damn.
I had to throw that one out there just for a little bit.
That's all good, man. I think the world thought that Darren was going to win that fight. So, it is what it is.
But
I'm all on you this time, just so you know.
But what do you
the
think
odds have shifted quite a bit.
Yeah, what do you think is going to be the fight of the night?
Man, I think me and Darren stand a pretty good chance, especially fighting at 205. He's more durable. So it'll take a lot more to get him out of there, I think.
Does that worry you about your gas tank for not having to cut that extra weight or anything of that nature?
Nah, man. Man, the only time you've ever seen me gas out was against Thiago Santos on 6 days' notice. I've had a full camp. I'm healthy. I'm ready to rock.
I bet the experience with football and training for that and the endurance stuff that's related to being in shape for football probably helps you with structuring some of that stuff in a way that maybe other fighters don't do.
Man, I've yes and no. You know, since I started coming out here to fight ready, you know, and working with Chad Ike, the strength and conditioning coach, dude, he's just taken my body physically to another level. You know, I thought that I had kind of maxed out, to be honest with you, but working with him, dude, he's worked with athletes from, you know, at the Olympic Training Center to NFL athletes, hockey players, baseball players, basketball players, MMA fighters, and everywhere in between. So he really knows what he's doing. He's done his homework. And I think even if looking at me from, you know, previous fights at 185 to this last fight was the leanest and healthiest I've ever looked at 185. So, you know, he really knows what he's doing.
I've got one more question for you, Eryk. So I know when you were at Alabama, it was sort of the beginning of the Nick Saban era down there, but you did spend some time under Nick Saban. And, you know, he has this reputation as this really intense guy, and that's how he's portrayed in the media and, you know, kind of the vibe he gives off to the media intentionally, I think. But
Yeah, for sure.
like, my question is, though, we hear about all these like cool lake parties that he throws with the players, and he takes the guys tubing and stuff. Did you ever get the invite to the Saban Lake House?
Man, hell no. I don't know if he was on that back then, you know. I was kind of Saban's stepchild, if you will, you know. You know, I was one of, you know, the Shula's recruits, Mike Shula's recruits. So, you know, I don't know if he was showing that kind of love. Maybe he was, but you know, I just wasn't that guy. I didn't never go to any of the coaches' houses. I didn't ever do anything with them or anything, you know. So, you know, I have no idea what the other guys were doing. I'm sure if you ask Julio Jones or somebody like that, and I for sure has been in his house.
Okay, I lied. I actually have another additional question. How are you getting the victory on next Saturday?
Man, don't be surprised if your boy pull off a submission, man, you know. But I don't know, dude. I just know I'm gonna get my hand raised, whether it's knockout, TKO, submission, or decision. You know, I'm prepared to go 3 rounds, hard rounds. So, you know, ain't nothing to it but to do it now.
I like it. I like the submission prediction. Josh?
Yeah, man, I think he's going to get it done by knockout again. I mean, I thought you should have won last time, but, you know, it is what it is. And
Yeah.
And we'll see it on next Saturday for sure. Any prediction for the main event? I know it's your weight class.
I don't know, dude. I think that Adesanya's a pretty tough nut to crack. I don't see him losing, especially a 5-round fight. You know, anybody can get knocked out with 4-ounce gloves, but I think that you know, he'll win a pretty decisive decision.
So we won't make you spill or ask you to spill the beans here, but after you get the victory, do you have a call out in mind for your next opponent that you're going to give us on the TV broadcast?
Man, I really haven't checked the landscape of, you know, either division, light heavyweight or middleweight. But, you know, on fight week, I have a lot more time on my hands and, you know, do a lot more surfing on the internet. So, man, I'll probably have a gauge. You know, there's a couple guys from 2020 that I was lined up to fight, but fights didn't happen. So, you know, I'd like to make those happen. So, man, we'll see what's up.
Well, we appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully you come back after you win and get that victory, and we'll talk about your next fight.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, man.
Thanks, Eryk.
Hey, appreciate you guys.